Hello and welcome to Where You're Not Entertained. I'm Daniel.
I'm Rachel.
And I'm James.
And it's October, so it's spooky season for us.
Yes.
So we are going to cover a horror film. It's a little more action than horror, but it still fits the bill.
And it's one we've slightly covered before, but deserved its due diligence.
Yeah, we've talked about it.
Gently mentioned.
Mentioned, yeah.
In the Brad Pitt episode.
Right, exactly. So yeah, it's going to be World War Z. And this was a different kind of take on zombies. They're not just the slow, dumb, try to, like, there's so many of them that you fall down and get gnawed on kind of zombies that you see often.
Yeah.
It's one of the things that I really enjoyed about this movie is that they were...
I love your description, by the way.
Yeah, thank you.
You do that impressively well.
I practiced that. No, I didn't.
But yeah, spoilers. This has zombies and Brad Pitt in it.
Brad Pitt is not a zombie.
Correct.
It'd be interesting if he were.
Uh,
The horror movie where it follows the zombie. An actual horror movie where it follows the zombie would be interesting.
right? Unlike Warm Bodies, which is not a horror film, but does follow a zombie.
Yes, exactly. You're about to say something, James?
I was going to say he kind of is a zombie. He's super stoic in this movie.
Yeah, I mean, he is. But the entire world is falling apart, so
True.
kind of makes sense. He's worried about his family.
If you're not stoic in that situation, you're losing your freaking mind and you're not going to get a whole lot done. So,
yeah.
Yeah, I think they probably overdid it the tiniest bit with his military/UN background to make him so stoic and so unflappable.
yeah.
Which, I mean, he would have to be, except no matter what you've encountered before, it wasn't zombies.
I was going to say, yeah.
I mean, he didn't act like it's something he'd seen before. Like at the beginning of the movie when it started happening, he wasn't just like, oh, this is normal. Hop in the RV, kids.
He was very confused, but still very like calm and take charge, which makes sense. But
he was paying attention to what was going on around him.
well, yeah, because everything's going on around you. It's freaking zombies.
Hey, isn't that the theme of the whole movie? Is he the catalyst? Because it seems like everywhere he goes, things go to hell.
Yes, he's a
Brad Pitt
secret.
shows up, everything goes to hell, and then he hops on a friggin' plane.
Yeah.
He's an asymptomatic carrier of zombieism.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe that's like the hidden subtext to the whole movie. Like, not subtext, but like secret plot.
Yeah, sure.
Film theory.
The only people that can figure it out are the people that are going to bring your doom.
He's zombie married.
You know what happens? It's when he stabs himself with the cure that suddenly the world starts getting better.
That must be.
I figured it out.
Yeah, I don't.
Movie solved.
I don't-
Stamp it. We're done.
I don't think you did.
4 minutes in.
No.
This is why they
Nope.
didn't make another one. There was no sequel because James already figured it out.
Mm-hmm. They've been waiting for me to figure it out. What, like
Waiting
8
until
years
now.
later.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Don't say things at the same time as me.
Whatever.
It's like in stereo.
It's a 2013 movie. So they've been waiting for so long for us to have this podcast for you to mention that you figured everything out.
Well, there's been a
Now
pandemic.
they can finally release the second movie.
And totally turn it up on its head.
It's been done. It's just been none of this is true, by the way. Don't believe us. We're
No.
stupid.
Yes,
Yeah,
please don't.
100%. James just spoiled the second movie fully. We're going to find out that he's asymptomatic for zombies and has secretly been the problem the whole time.
Yeah.
But anyway.
Anyway.
No, I'm with you on the portrayal of zombies in this movie. It was it was different. They weren't the same, just, oh no, they're, thank you. It's not just this whole, they're mindless eating machines. They're like weapons. These are killers in a very,
kind of got the 28 days later treatment.
Yeah, they're much more predatory,
which
I appreciate. It makes them that much more frightening.
Yeah, absolutely.
It actually makes them frightening. Because zombie hordes haven't been scary since like the 80s. Like, they're so done, and they're so popular because it's something you could actually get away from most of the time, until they close in on you because you made a bad turn, one wrong turn down a dead end alley, and you're screwed. Kind of fear, but at the same time, they don't have the like terrifying like chasing you like a werewolf or something. But 28 days later, that totally turned it on its head, and then this takes the combination of massive hordes,
right? Yeah,
and
exactly.
the just aggressiveness and speed.
Yeah, and this slight bit more intelligence to sort of build a human bridge to get up over things. And
yeah, I think that falls into the aggressiveness part. I don't know that that's necessarily intelligence.
But they thought to climb, so that's at least a step above what other zombies do.
Absolutely.
Or a chain link fence will stop them.
Yeah.
Right.
No, I think there were so many really good elements in this film, and the acting was superb. The storyline was good, and just the characters were rich. And for a zombie movie, that's not what you expect.
No, not at all.
I really like this movie, but I do feel like there's something like kind of missing about it. I almost want to say it's like the heart of it is gone or something, because I do like the acting, and I think the performances are good, and I think you get a little bit more depth and realism in the humanity of the characters than you do in a lot of zombie movies, because the contrast is so great between a living person and a zombie. You usually don't have to do a whole lot with it. But I don't know. I liked the characters. Just I don't know what it is that just kind of.
Yeah, I almost
maybe
think
it was the actioniness of it.
Maybe. I would think a small portion of it might be just the total lack of vulnerability from sort of the main characters you really see here. Like,
Jerry,
obviously he does have
the lack of
some holes and things, but if you think about, like, you had compared it slightly to 28 Days Later. When you look at that movie, those characters had such a almost more complex in a way, and you get a little more attached to their story.
Because they're normal people with zero training.
Right, but it makes it a little bit more relatable, and it brings...
Because you're a normal person with zero training.
Well,
But that's not the movie they're trying
No, we're not debating that. I'm saying that I sort of agree, and I think maybe that's a portion of why it feels like it has a little less heart to it. Maybe a little less connection as a viewer. It's still a fantastic movie.
Yeah, I think that the heart is supposed to lie in the wife and the kids.
Absolutely.
And maybe more so the kids, because adults are supposed to be able to take care of themselves, and just the lengths that he's going to in order to make sure that his family's safe, because that's the only reason he's doing it.
Right.
The answer was no.
Right.
Yeah, but we really know was the answer.
But when there's no place for your kids to grow up, like, do you have an answer? Well,
and you've got nowhere to go to keep them safe that you can guarantee that they're safe.
Right.
So yeah, I think that was supposed to be the heart of it, but it wasn't. There wasn't a whole lot of that in the movie. You've got the initial where they escape, and he's doing this to keep the to get onto the boat to get everybody safe, and then
Yep.
pretty much hey, you have to do this or we're going to kick you off the boat,
Yeah.
and him leaving to do that. And then it's, a couple phone calls and a couple instances where you're back with the wife where she's kind of being told that she's getting kicked off the boat because they think Jerry's dead.
Yeah.
So I think that that's actually supposed to be the heart of it.
Yeah.
And there's not a lot of it. And I think it's because most of it is the action and the puzzle of trying to figure out, number one, where did this come from? And once you realize that you can't, well, how do we survive this?
Right.
Which was interesting. So to me, like, I love this movie. It's, it's not my favorite movie or anything like that, but I think it's awesome. The direction they went with the zombies, and then even at the end, you already said spoiler alerts, but the solution, things, the minor things that were noticed by this guy whose job is to, get in and get out of places that other people can't. That's what he used to do for a living, and he retired from that. But, part of that skill set is paying attention to everything. But when he got sent out, he was sent with an expert that is supposed to be the holy grail of finding the solution, right? That's who this kid's supposed to be. What was his name? Andrew, I think. Yeah, Andrew was his character's name.
Yeah.
And he immediately has an accident and dies.
Oops.
Yeah, so like this is our best hope turns into, well, crap, what do we do now? And he was able to find a solution by, paying attention, and the things that you notice in the movie that honestly at first, when, obviously the camera is focusing on it, so something's going on, you just don't necessarily know what it is. Like the old guy that they're just running past and not killing, or the kid that ducks in the middle of the road and they all run by him. These instances, and you're like, well, what's that about?
Right.
And then there's the realization, which I thought was really a nice touch.
It's giving you the clues. It's right. It's showing you.
Yeah, definitely.
And I can't think of another movie that's done anything like that. Is like a zombie movie anyway that's done anything like that. Like that's the solution. The solution isn't just chop all their heads off or go hide in a bunker until they all die of starvation, or whatever. That actually had something that they could use that made sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I totally agree with you. I think as far as
I guess that would be the writing of this would be really well done.
Yeah, as far as like a zombie style movie, this is very unique. It's not something that you see commonly, and despite, the zombies making it a bit more horror genre, it really does just feel like an action movie.
Yeah.
It feels less spooky, for lack of a better term, than most zombie films. And it is good. I definitely agree. I think it's good. It's got its own merits. It's not my favorite zombie movie, but it is still a really good movie.
Yeah. That's how I feel about it.
Yeah, I think it's incredibly well done, incredibly well acted. I think that it maybe jumps around a little bit too much to keep the pace and the action going. And if it had slowed down a little bit more, some of that heart could have seeped back in. But I could also see how a lot of people would find that more boring. So, to each his own. I think it's a very good movie, probably more deserving of than maybe a 6 or a 7, which seems to be its kind of average rating. And how much of that also comes from people who know movies and, or follow movies like this, or fans of the book, where this is notoriously extraordinarily different from the book, and that it had a pretty long and rough production.
Yep.
So that can always taint a movie. And we're talking about a movie, 2013, so 8 years.
Yeah.
8 years in the future, you get to look at it with a little bit fresher eyes than you do with the whole narrative of the making of the movie around it.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's one of those that, even it's not that old. It's not brand new, but I still enjoy watching it. I watch it every year around this time, actually.
Really? Every year around this time?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. It's just one of those that falls into the category. Spooky season hits, it's horror movies all month long. That's what I watch, but it's one of those that falls in the category. It's on the edge. It honestly is. Of just too much action to be horror. It's, I guess, kind of like Shaun of the Dead, right? Shaun of the Dead it's a horror film, but it's
too much
it's almost too much comedy to be. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this kind of falls in that realm.
Yeah, and I mean, I think that's also kind of fair because we're talking about a horror monsters, but we're dealing with it from like a more military presence. Because he's being flown around by the military and interacting with either military or government body people who, it's a lot more cut and dry and to the point, and
yeah, absolutely
not a band of civilians trying to survive.
Right. No, he's working for the United Nations. So yeah, he's going straight to government leaders or influential people and asking questions, and not like
foraging through convenience stores for food.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And he has a elite escort for the vast majority of the movie.
Yeah. Yeah, it is a story of survival, but not in the same way as some of the more gritty zombie films.
Yeah, it's not a story about his personal survival. It's a story about the survival of society as a whole.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
He's not exactly fighting for his life so much as he's fighting to save the possibility of the future.
Right. Yep.
Which I think is kind of cool, because it does seem like it takes more of an angle that this is the story of the zombie outbreak and how we figured out how to not all die from it. But it doesn't, it narrates it in a human story of, Jerry, but it kind of leans towards more of that first aspect than the second aspect. And most other zombie movies do lean heavily on the human aspect and the fear and the just absolute nihilism in the face, existential dread in the face of the whole world turned into zombies.
Right.
And this just kind of cuts through all that. And how do we fix it? That didn't work. How do we fix it?
Right. Exactly. Yeah. Because it was very much at the beginning, find patient zero, and that's going to give us our answer.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's, well, patient zero is never going to be found. You try as much as you want, but the further you look into it, the more you realize, I don't think we're going to find out.
Yeah.
And then, okay, so what now? It's not well, that was the mission. Mission's over.
Right.
Yeah. And I think that is definitely where its uniqueness and strength lie, is that it is a solution-oriented film.
Mm-hmm.
He's not looking to just get through this. He's looking to stop this.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, and I've never read the book, so I know nothing about it. If it's not like the book, well, that's not uncommon. But I think they did a really good job as far as the movie goes.
Fair.
That is
Agreed.
That is a pet peeve of mine. It's nothing like the book. Well, it's a movie, so
You're
right. You're right. It's nothing like the book.
Movies are, by their nature, very different than books.
Yeah, they kind of have to be.
Mm-hmm. Well, was there anything else we wanted to cover in World War Z before we got into favorite scenes?
No, I
No,
don't think
I
so.
don't think so.
All right. Well, I'll just jump out there and go first this time, if you don't mind.
Have at it.
My favorite scene is probably the most basic zombie movie scene there is, but I just thought that it really worked well, and I found it really interesting because it's so it seems kind of like a twist being so anticlimactic for a zombie movie about zombies that can like climb over each other and go over giant walls, to have the like major final scene be sneaking through this like lab facility to figure out to test on yourself inside of the zombie the like clean room.
Mhm.
And just I don't know, there's something about it that it was kind of cliche for zombie movies, but at the same time it was tense, it was fun. I wasn't scared per se, but I was invested in whether or not it would work. It just, I think that it hit the right tone for me.
Yeah, you could definitely feel the tension.
Mm-hmm.
You're absolutely correct about like the clichéness of it, because it is definitely one of those, the zombies are around and if you make a noise they'll attack you kind of. It was that
But
situation.
they're lumbering, not really doing anything, like in a
Right.
docile state,
Yeah.
like your traditional zombie.
Right, exactly. So yeah, no, and I thought it was pretty cool. Even though it was cliche, I thought that it was appropriate to make it difficult to get to that room, right? The cooler that had all the samples of viruses and stuff in it.
Yeah.
Because I can't think of another way of like, how do you make that part of the movie interesting? I just walked into the cooler. He just strolled on through and walked in with a grenade launcher and started blowing up zombies.
But it does. It also ups the tension having them, and then gives you greater payoff.
Mm-hmm.
Because as soon as he finds the right thing, he just walks right by him, and you get to have that immediate sort of relief of, oh, this could work. We could do this thing.
He's now Superman.
Right. Well, yeah. And so the other side of that is that he had no clue what any of the stuff was. So hopefully he hasn't just injected himself with something that is actually going to kill him.
Right.
Incurable.
Yeah, exactly. And then the second part of that is that I forget, he was like one of the doctors or whatever, is just, he's waiting right there. So if you open the door and the thing that you've done isn't right, then you're dead anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think they did a great job of kind of building that suspense for that as well.
Yep.
Yeah, it was pretty good. It's a good choice.
Well, thank you. Well, who wants to go next?
I'll go next. Mine's short. It is after they've gone into the apartment building, the next morning or whatever, whenever they're leaving.
Yeah, when they get taken in by that family.
Right. So after that, whenever they're leaving to get the evac out of the place, and they get chased by the horde of zombies up the stairs.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and Jerry kills a couple of them, but smartly wrapped his arm in a magazine so he had something to protect from getting bit, but he got blood in his mouth.
Mm-hmm.
Or thought maybe he got blood in his mouth. He got blood near his mouth or whatever.
Yeah.
And so the immediate response to that was, and the reason I like this scene so much is because it shows you how much he actually cares about saving his family. Like, he's not just doing it for himself, but runs out of the door at the top and runs to, because he had already counted when he was paying attention. Like I said, he's got to pay attention. He pays attention to a lot of stuff, but he's already counted how long it takes from once someone's bitten to when they actually transform. And so
Right.
he runs up to the edge of this building. He was like, back up, everybody get away from me. He runs up to this edge of the building and he's just standing on the edge counting. And it's like, oh man, yeah. If you feel like you're going to turn, hopefully your mind doesn't play tricks on you because you're about to jump over the edge.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Or he turns on the edge and then just steps down and attacks his family.
Right. Yeah. Hopefully not that.
Well, yeah.
But I enjoy how they threw that in there to kind of show you the extent that he's willing to go. He didn't just run up to the rooftop and go, "All right, stay back, everybody," just in case he turned. He was ready to just, I'm done, falling off the edge.
Yeah.
Good choice. Another good scene.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was a good one.
I don't know if there's any bad scenes in this one.
No,
No, not
not
really.
many.
All
I
right,
can't think of
Rachel. Well, that leaves you. What was your favorite scene?
Sure. And I've got the shortest one. So perfect wrap up. My favorite scene is probably a weird one, but I just really love the scene where that sort of smug answer to everything panics and trips and falls and shoots himself in the head.
Yeah.
I thought it was such an interesting moment because it is so unexpected for that to be how it goes. You expect him
extremely unexpected.
you expect him to maybe get killed, sure, but not by his own hand.
Yeah, not immediately. He hadn't even made it off the damn plane.
Yeah, and it's so fast, and just that sort of look from everyone else of, oh my God, that was our chance.
Right.
What do we do now? And it's also a stun of like, did that just really happen?
I hope there was a good reason that you've landed here and attracted all these zombies that we've had to just fight off and lose a couple people for.
Yeah,
Right.
there was,
Well,
but
there
it's
was,
dead now.
But he's dead. So, oops.
Yeah, I
bad, bro.
Yeah, exactly.
My bad.
I just really enjoyed that because he's obviously just, I don't know, not paying attention to the important things he should be paying attention to. And
It's the
Yeah, it's
irony
just-
of it. You're in a world that is out to kill you, and it's your survival, and it's you being a dumbass that gets you killed.
Yeah. Panic.
Has nothing to do with the virus, other than that's the whole reason he's there. But like your
Right.
death, your hand.
You did
Yeah.
this 100%.
yeah, no,
your
you're
fault.
absolutely right. It is just pure panic.
Yeah. Yep.
And so
Remember what I was saying about that training?
yeah, that's my favorite. That's my favorite scene. The importance of keeping your calm.
For being
keep your finger off the trigger.
Yeah.
I think that's the most it's the most important
Safety's on,
takeaway.
bro.
Most important takeaway. Finger off the trigger. What's wrong with you?
Yeah,
Mhm.
exactly. That's the most important message from this movie.
Honestly, it'll save more lives than anything else in this movie.
Yeah, that's true. Good choice.
Very good choice. World War Z. Keep your finger off the trigger.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. That's going to be the second one.
There you go. All right. Well, hopefully you enjoyed our coverage of World War Z as much as we enjoyed the movie. If you did, then please go online and like and subscribe. Make sure to join us next time on Were You Not Entertained?